And God spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, who brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourselves an idol, nor an image of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the father upon the children to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, showing loving kindness to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. Remember the day of the Sabbath to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor 6 days and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. You shall not do any work in it, nor your son, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor the stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is within them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the day of the Sabbath and made it holy. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land which the Lord your God giveth thee. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is your neighbor's. These are the words of your 10 Commandments. These are the covenant words that we are to live by, the words that we are to have in our heart. Today, today we are going to be talking about the Spirit. And why is it so important to truly have the Spirit in today's time? Today, we are living in a time that was foretold in the Bible. And it was called the last days or the end of time. And a lot of things that's taking place and transpiring today is coming out of the word. And so, in order for us to truly understand what's going on, we have to go back to the word. But when we go back to the word, we have to make sure that we are going back to the word in the spirit of the Holy One of Israel. When you read the word is there to be a light to his people. The word is there to feed his people. The word is there so that his people that was once in the darkness can now come to the word and get the light so that they can walk in the light and no longer walk in the darkness, so that they could have wisdom, understanding, counsel, might, knowledge, and the fear of the Lord. For the word is his spirit. So how can you understand the word without the word? You need the word to understand the word. It's like if you ever watch movies where they're looking for treasures, they always have to start off with clues. And then they have to decipher what the clues mean. And every time they decipher one of the clues, they get closer and closer to the treasure. But they have to start off with the first clue that they have deciphered, because that first clue is going to add to the second clue. The second clue is going to add to the third clue. And finally, they're going to be at the treasure. That's how the Bible is. The Bible is layered. And you have to go through the layers so you can understand the secrets. But a lot of time we want to skip the decoder and go straight to the treasure. And we do that by going to someone else so that someone else can tell us where the treasure is. But there's a problem. How can someone tell you what the treasure is when the person you're going to doesn't have the code themselves? They don't understand the words to the treasure map, for they have looked at it through the eyes of another man. Instead of going to the Spirit, the Holy One of Israel, to get the words to the treasure map so that they could understand the meaning behind the word. Let's go to the book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 2. The times we're living in, if you can't discern, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in serious trouble. Discernment is everything because discernment comes from the Spirit. Discernment leads you and guides you to where you need to be and where you don't need to go. Discernment leads and guides you to the words to say and the words to withhold. If you don't have discernment in this time, you're going to be in trouble. So let's go to Daniel chapter 2. And a lot of times when we read this one right here, we go straight to the idol, to what the dream was. But today we're going to start at the beginning. Daniel chapter 2, verse 1. In the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, and his spirit was troubled, and he slept, and his sleep went from him. Then the king commanded to call the magicians, the enchanters, the sorcerers, the Chaldeans, to tell the king his dream. So they came and stood before the king. The king said to them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit is troubled to know the dream. Then spoke the Chaldeans to the king in a Syriac language. O king, live forever. Tell your servant the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered the Chaldean, the thing is gone from me. If you don't make known the dream to me, if you don't make known to me the dream and the interpretation of it, you shall be cut in pieces, and your house shall be made a dunghill. But if you show me the dream and the interpretation of it, you shall receive of me gifts and rewards and honor. Therefore, show me the dream and the interpretation. They answered the second time and said, let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered, I know of a certainty that you should gain time because you see the thing is gone. But if you don't make known to me the dream, there's but one law for you. For you have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me until the time be changed. Therefore, tell me the dream, and I shall know that you can show me the interpretation of it. Let's stop right there. King Nebuchadnezzar came to who? To his priests, his prophets, his soothsayers, All those that are supposed to be hearing from their God. He had a dream, he had a vision, and this vision troubled him. And this vision had left him because he couldn't remember. But if they would have started to tell him the dream, then the memories of the dream would have came back to him. So they say, well, King, can no one do that right there, King? Let me see. Hold on. I'm sorry. Let's keep reading. Let's go to verse 10. The Chaldeans answered before the king and said, there's not a man on the earth who can show the king's matter, because no king, lord, or ruler has asked such a thing of any musician or enchanter or Chaldean. It is a rare thing that that the king requires, and there is no other who can show it before the king except the gods whose dwelling is not with flesh. The Chaldeans knew something. They knew that the answers that they gave the king didn't come from the gods. They came from them. But the king also knew something, that there was someone that was hearing from their God. He wasn't hearing from the gods of the Chaldeans. He wasn't hearing from the God of King Nebuchadnezzar. He wasn't looking into the stars for the answer. And he wasn't throwing bones or going to tarot cards. He was going to his God. But his God answered his prayers. And his God was a living God. So the king said, even if I knew the dream, I wouldn't tell you. Because the only thing that you're going to come up is with lying words. It's just something that you can tell me that might make me feel good. Those same words that you go to church on Sundays and hear in lying words. Because when you go and talk to your pastor, he go and get his understanding from another man. But there's no flesh that can reveal to you what the scripture says. But we'll go to what? We'll go to a book called a commentary so we can see how someone else has broken it down and interpret that spiritual word that only the Holy One of Israel can give you understanding in. Most of the time, we lead to our own understanding when it comes to the understanding of the word. Because if we take the true understanding of what the word says, then it will contradict with the life that we're living. Because the word comes through and it changes you. It refines you. It rebukes you. It reproves you. It washes you. It cleanses you. It covers you. It remains in you, and you remain in it when you go to the word. But when you go to a commentary, what you remaining in? You're remaining in flesh, which profits you nothing. King Nebuchadnezzar knew that. That's why he said, tell me the interpretation. No, don't only tell me the interpretation of the dream, but tell me what the dream was. It's just like when the Father came with the plagues on Egypt. And at first, the same plagues that was going upon Egypt were going on the children of Israel. But then the Father said, I'm going to have to go ahead and show you a distinction between the clean and the unclean, between the chosen and the unchosen, between the servant that allows me to wield the rod and the rod that wants to wield himself. I'll show you a distinction between the two. My spirit is going to cover the children of Israel and the land of Goshen. Wow. Destruction, the sword, and the famine, and the pestilence come upon you and your land. That was the first time that the children of Israel had truly seen the power of their God. They had heard about it, but that was the first time the descendants of those that walked into Egypt had seen the power of their God and seeing how a true God operates through the Spirit. Then, when he gets them out of the land and he reveals himself to them as a cloud and a pillar of fire, they still didn't understand what was before them. He even came down and sat upon a mountain to where his glory and his voice spoke to them. And they still didn't understand because they were still seeking for a man to tell them what all that meant. Not understanding that the Father had told them, be unto me a royal priesthood. Be unto me a chosen nation. Be unto me set apart and separate from all the other nations, and I will be a God unto you. And you will dwell in wisdom and understanding and might and counsel and knowledge and the fear of who your God is, because you have seen my fear and you have heard my voice. Know that the Spirit is that which goes before you. But no, that wasn't good enough. Wasn't good enough. Wasn't good enough, so much so until Moses went to meet with the Father. And our forefathers went back to playing the harlot with the calf. But our Father, in his grace and his mercy and his love and his kindness, saw fit, after Moses pleaded with him, not to destroy the people. For how would it look that their God had taken them out of the land of Egypt just to destroy them? So the Father repented from destroying them totally. But he told Moses, he said, Moses, I've seen this people. They are stiff-necked people. They are stubborn and they are rebellious people. They're not going to want to walk in my ways. I've given them commandments to do them good. I've made a covenant with them to be their God. And Moses, look how quick they go out of the way and they break that covenant. So the father told Moses, he said, know for a surety that I'm going to punish them. When I punish them, I'm going to punish them with the rod of a cruel one. I'm going to send the fiercest of the nations against them. And I will put their yoke around my people's neck. I will put the bridle in their mouth, and they shall be led into captivity, and they shall be beaten, and they shall be in want of all things, for I will take my goodness away from them, and I will give them my bitterness. No, for a short time, Moses, this is going to happen because they are stubborn. They are stiff-necked. They are rebellious. And as we would say today, they are pure D niggas. So Moses let the people know all these things. Moses let the people know you have a choice. You can walk in blessings, you can walk in curses. You can walk in the knowledge of who your God is, or you can walk in the fear of a statue and an idol. You have a choice. And like the father said, they were going to choose their curses. So much so until this people got so proud and started seeing so much in themselves. And the wickedness had started to abound in them so hard until they had stopped hearing truth from the Father. They said they wanted a king. So they came to the prophet Samuel. And they said, Samuel, we want to be just like everybody else, just like all the other nations. We want a king to go before us, something that our eyes can see and someone that our ears can hear. So that when we go to battle, we see him right there with us. When we're in need of something, we know who we can go to that's going to supply it. And it grieved Samuel when they did this. For Samuel, see, being a prophet, being filled with the Spirit, he knew where it was going to lead him. He knew what was going to fall upon the people, just like Moses. Moses knew. Samuel knew. But the father said, Samuel, it's not you that they have rejected, it's me. They don't want my spirit. They don't want Emmanuel to dwell amongst them. They don't want Emmanuel to lead them and guide them to the truth of all things so that it could be good for them in the land that I've given them. They don't want that. They want flesh to rule over them and dumb idols to be a God to them. So give them what they want. Give them what they want. And let them know it's not going to be what you think. Because when he's going to rule over you, he's going to rule over you with a rod. And he's going to beat. And he's going to break. And he's going to take. And he's going to devour. And he's going to burn. You're going to do all these things to you, to your children, and to your children's children. Let them know this. But it didn't matter to them. They still chose the king. And the king did exactly what the father said he was going to do. He got them to turn away from their God. He got them to start serving other gods, to start putting their faith in their possessions, to start putting their faith in their other gods, to start putting their faith in their fellow man, start putting their faith in their own wisdom. But remember, the father said, Moses, you're going to come back and I'm going to visit this. And when I visit this, I'm going to pour my anger out in fierceness and in wrath. So now here comes King Nebuchadnezzar. King Nebuchadnezzar, King of Kings, that one that had that dream about all the kingdoms and what was going to happen at the end. It's like Pharaoh had that dream with those 7 years of plenty, those 7 years of famine. But just like with Pharaoh, no one could interpret the dream of the child of Israel. Joseph had to interpret the dreams for Pharaoh. King Nebuchadnezzar had to get his dream interpreted by Daniel. Who's interpreting dreams today for who's walking upon the Spirit? Who's seeing those things that's coming? And who's sounding the alarm? Who's walking under the Spirit of the Holy One of Israel? And who's still walking under the counsel of man? We had to go all the way from Moses up until King Nebuchadnezzar so that you could see everything that has happened has been by the Spirit, never by man's hands. So when are we going to become a spiritual people and stop being a carnal-minded man? When are we going to put away the things of the flesh, think up the things of the Spirit? During the week, how much reading of the word do you do? And how much contending for the faith are you doing? During the week, how much time do you spend fulfilling the desires of your flesh compared to the fulfilling the desires of your spirit? Ooh, But that's the thing. If you look upon the desires that you fulfill during the week, that's the spirit that's in you. So which spirit is dwelling in you? Is it the spirit of the world or is it the spirit of the Holy One of Israel? Because if all your desires are the desires to fulfill the flesh, then it's the spirit of the world. But if all your desires are the desires to fulfill the desires of the Holy One of Israel, then that is he who is dwelling in you. You should be walking in knowledge. You should be walking in understanding, in might, in counsel. You should be reading the word, and the word should be alive to you because that spirit is dwelling in you. Because just like King Nebuchadnezzar knew one thing, a carnal man cannot answer a spiritual question. He knew he had to go to someone that was filled with the spirit of the living God. For the Chaldeans didn't have it. And that was who Daniel was supposed to be sitting up under, Chaldeans. That is who was jealous of the children of Israel, the Chaldeans. That is who tried to kill the children of Israel because of the way they served their gods. You see, the Chaldeans are the Assyrians. The Chaldeans is that religious side of the kingdom of Babylon. King Nebuchadnezzar was that raw, stately side, that governmental side. The Chaldeans was that religious side, that one coin that has two sides. Just like today, Christianity, that governmental side, because Christianity thrives off of laws and decrees. Islam is that religious side. Islam thrives off of their God and the practices of their God. One coin, two sides. Still the same coin, but the two sides can never mix. So when you look at the Chaldeans and you look at the Assyrians, always remember their God is no God. When you look at Islam, always remember Muhammad, Allah, no prophet, no God. But they are the same ones that was right here in Daniel. The Chaldeans, the soothsayers, the musicians, the astrologers. When you start studying and looking into Islam, you see all those things right there is what Islam boasts about. They boast about their stargazing. Little known, one of the little known facts that y'all might not know. Do you know the Vatican, I think, owns the second largest telescope, the Vatican. Why are you stargazing? Because when you start to walk in the Spirit and you start to allow the Spirit to lead and guide you to the truth of all things, then when you start to read your word, you start to look at things like Daniel and you start to see how it goes on in the world. King Nebuchadnezzar offered them a reward if they could go ahead and interpret the dream. Isn't it the same thing that goes on today? If you want me to give you a word, you have to sow a seed. You have to give me something. If you want me to interpret your dream, you have to pay for it. If you want me to say, thus says the Lord, you have to come and give some money. The word is right there in front of us, but we never truly look at the word. And what got me to Daniel was Habakkuk 1. And well, Habakkuk 1 and Habakkuk 2. Let's go to Habakkuk 2 first. The Lord answered me, Habakkuk 2 and 2. Write the vision and make it plain on tables, that he he may run who reads it. For the vision is yet for appointed time, and it hurries towards the end and won't prove false. Though it takes time, wait for it, because it should surely come. It won't delay. Behold, his soul is puffed up. It is not upright in him, but the righteous will live by faith. That brought me to Daniel 2, because he says to write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that it may run, that he who reads it may run. We read the word, but we can't run because we haven't given our life over to the one who spoke the word. Daniel 2. The Chaldeans couldn't interpret the dream because they didn't have the spirit of the Holy One of Israel. So now that the vision has been written and the words have come forth, who's understanding? Because you see, all we have to live by today is faith in these words. Because we went through a captivity where the knowledge of who our God and his spirit was taken from us. That's why he calls us the Egyptians. That's why we're the Assyrians. That's why we are that people that are scattered in a land that he's going to say aren't his people. Because they have become just like the people of the land without his spirit. Because that's what made Israel Israel. His spirit. His spirit. A people called by my name, by my spirit. When I take my spirit from them, I take my name from them. So now they are just like the Gentiles to me, nameless. But they come running to and fro to this book, seeking knowledge, and then they go to another book to get knowledge from that, which if they come to me and ask, I'll give it to them. To me, the letters of Paul are just like the hadiths for the Quran. They are the interpretations. The hadiths are the interpretations that the companions of Muhammad gave to the Quran. Paul's letters is the interpretation of the Old Testament that Paul gave to the people. Why keep going to commentaries when you have the Spirit that wants to pour it out to you? You have to read. You have to separate yourself. For all that you're putting your faith in, it's going to come to nothing. But you have not set yourself up with the Spirit of the Holy One of Israel. The end is near. Time is winding down. Understand the Spirit that dwells in you. Understand how it is that Daniel was able to come and do that which the Chaldeans couldn't do for King Nebuchadnezzar. Let's go down. Let's go back to Daniel 2. And let's go to Daniel chapter 2, verse 16. Verse 16, and it reads, Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would appoint him a time, and he would show the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his companions should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babel. Then was the secret revealed to Daniel in a vision of the night. Then Daniel blessed the El of heaven. Daniel went to Shadrach, Meshach, my mistake, hold on. He went to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. He went to the children of Israel. And I want to say he didn't go to the children of Babylon. He didn't go to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He went to the children of Israel. He went to who had came into captivity with them, not to who they tried to turn them into. And when they went into them as the children of Israel, the El of heaven, the God of Israel, heard their cry, heard their voice, and he answered their prayer. When my people that are called by my name shall humble themselves, seek my face, go and ask for that vision, humble themselves, understand that I am not a Gentile, but I am a child of the Holy One of Israel, and call upon my name, the Holy One of Israel. Seek his spirit, the God of Israel, Yahuwah El Shaddai, and turn back to your covenant and stop walking outside of his covenant. Stop calling upon other gods. Stop taking his name in vain. Stop not honoring his Sabbath day. Stop bowing down to idols. When I start to do that, then he'll do just like he did with Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. He will hear, he will answer, and he will deliver. Because isn't that what he did? He heard, He answered and he delivered. And that's what we're trying to get him to do today. That's what we're begging for him to do this day. To hear, to answer, and to deliver us. But we have to go back to him as who we are, that remnant that is supposed to be filled with his spirit, so that when his spirit calls out, he hears. You will no longer be considered an outsider, but you will be considered sons and daughters. You remember the parable of the rich man and his son? How that son wanted his inheritance, and the rich man gave him his inheritance, and the son blew the inheritance. But the son had so much pride until he wasn't going back home. So the son found himself lower than that, which is the most unclean thing in his land, swine. He found himself feeding them, and they were eating better than him. So they were seen as better than he was. But then he came to his senses, and he remembered the goodness of his father towards his servants, not toward him, but towards his servants. And he says, I'm going to humble myself, and I'm going to go to my father, not in pride and not in arrogance, but I'm going to go to my father in humility and in shame for the things that I've done. For I've squandered all that he's given me because of the pride that I have. So the man set out to go back to the house of his father. And that day the father was sitting down outside. I could only imagine that that the Lord had already came to him, Yahuwah came to him and told him, go sit on your porch and see what your eyes will see. And as he was sitting on his porch and he looked out, he saw a figure. And as that figure got closer, it was an image of someone that he knew. And as it got closer, that image became clear that it was his son. So that man jumped up off that porch and he ran to his son. And he gave his son a hug. And I could only imagine his son, Father, forgive me. I don't come back in pride. I don't come back in arrogance. I don't even come back as your son. I come back as a lowly servant asking you for a place to dwell. If you treat me like your servant, Father, I'll understand. But I did not treat you like a father. But Father, the only thing I ask is that you open your arms and just let me be a servant to you. He came back humbly. Not only did the father open his arms, but the father said this, the same thing that Yahuwah said to Joshua and Zechariah. Go and wash him clean and put clean garments on him and put a ring on his finger. For I have forgiven his transgressions against me, for he is my son. The same thing the Father wants to say to us. We have to come back to him humbly. We have to come and ask for his spirit to be poured upon us and for him to cleanse us of the filth that we have been in. Then we're going to hear from heaven. Then he will return and be a God to us. and we will be his people. For he said, in that land that I said, ye are not my people. There shall be in that land, I shall say, you are my people, and you shall say, you are my God. For I have forgiven your transgressions and wiped away your iniquities. And I have clothed you with clean garment and set a crown upon your head. Now stand and go forth and run. No longer walk and tarry in those things of the world, but run in the matters of the Father. Run in his wisdom. Run in his understanding. Run in his counsel. Run in his might. Run in his knowledge. For he's the Holy One of Israel, and you are that remnant of Israel. Be ye wise. A donkey knows his way home. An ox knows his master's whip. Why is it we can't find our way home or go back to him who feeds us? Because we don't have the Spirit. Because we don't labor for that which is right. Be like Daniel and his companions. Seek the face of the Father. Seek his wisdom. Seek his understanding. And run to the book. Get his counsel and his knowledge. So that you'll know which way to walk in these dark times. You'll know where to put your feet so that you won't stumble, so that you won't fall in another pit. For he's pulling you out. Don't fight against it. Stop fighting. Stop leaning. And that fight is leaning to our own understanding. No man has lost mother, father, sister, brother, and has not gained more. Look at what Job lost. Look at what Joseph lost. Look at what Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and Daniel lost. But look at what they gained at the end. All of them rose because of the Holy One of Israel and that spirit that dwelled in them. It wasn't by their might, it wasn't by their power, but it was by his spirit that they rose. For they spoke in wisdom, understanding, might, counsel, knowledge, and the fear of the Lord. Empty yourself, cleanse yourself. Write those words upon your heart so that the Father can show you how to remain in them. So often, we want the Father to do all the work and we don't want to do anything. But if we read the word and we look at everything that happened, everybody had to play their own part and do something. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had to go in the fire. Daniel had to go in the lion's den. Joseph had to go into captivity. Job had to go into pestilence. And the son had to go into poverty. We're there. The only thing now that we're waiting on now is for the Father to pull us up. But we have to start first by stretching out our hand. And with that, we're going to close.
The blessing of the children of Israel, Numbers 6, 22 through 27. I made this PDF. Family, it's absolutely free. It's free to download. All you got to do is go below the video, download the priestly blessing so we can read it together in Hebrew and English, and also download those free goodies. Get those free goodies while they're still free. The blessing of the children of Israel. Hallelujah. Vadaber Yahuah el Moshe lemor, daber el Aharon wa el Bana lemor, call tavarku et bnei Yisrael, amor lehem. And Yahuah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto Aharon and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel. Ye shall say unto them, Yivareka Yahuah wa yishmareka. Ya'ed Yahuah pana aleka wa huneka. Yisa Yahuah pana aleka wa yasem leka shalom. May Yahuah bless thee and keep thee. May Yahuah make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. May Yahuah lift up his countenance upon thee, and may he give thee peace. Hallelujah! That concludes today's Shabbat service. But before we go, we got to close out with the announcements. Stick around for the announcements. You never know what's in them. I don't want you to miss out, fam. So all you got to do is go below the video. You can get the free goodies. Also, you can click on where it says more at the top of the page. Let's get our schedule. The Shabbat word, which is the Shabbat service, which includes prayer, praise music, and preaching. Friday nights, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. Motivation Monday, Mondays at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. I make motivational videos. Real Talk Tuesday, open panel live streams. Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And when I'm available, I go live on Wednesday nights at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And on Thursdays, I like to release a short or a clip. Also, here are the links. If you want to learn Hebrew, check out all the courses right here. Learn Biblical Hebrew. Learn how to read Biblical Hebrew. Classes for children and adults. Adults you can learn alongside your children as a former Sunday school teacher and licensed minister in Christianity. It is my honor to teach Biblical Hebrew. Patreon for exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Laugh at my mistakes at your expense and mine. Biblical tools and advanced biblical teachings. Also, if you'd like to represent for the kingdom, there is a variety of clothing for women, men, and children. Clothing for regular days and feast days. Click on Kavod. The link right here on Etsy. Click on Etsy.com, shop Kavod after the Shabbat. And you can get this cool shirt and a variety of clothing. If you'd like to support the ministry, you can do so through Cash App, PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or the YouTube Super Chat. You can get in touch with me on IG, Facebook Meta, Jaden and Jazz. If you want some secular content, my wife and I, we make content about Black love, trendy topics, celebrity news. It is a secular show, but as Israelites, let's be balanced, not boosy. And if you'd like to contact me on my email, go ahead and verify that you are a human. There are a lot of individuals out there that are not human. Perhaps they're watching right now. With the announcements out of the way, I have to say, I love you, fam. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm Jaden Israel. Until next time, Shabbat Shalom, fam.